If you want to learn about capitalism from somebody who is actively taking advantage and abusing that system for their personal benefit, go read about Elon Musk and Donald Trump. If you want to learn about capitalism from the perspective of somebody who's gotten fucked by it their whole life and then went to go to school to learn about it, to not get fucked by it later on in life, listen to me. My name's Gino and I was born in one of those zip codes. You know how they tell you a zip code that you're born into can tell you how much money you're gonna make in your life? I was born into a zip code that said I ain't gonna be worth shit, and that pissed me off. Partially because I didn't learn about that until I got to college. Once I got there, they were like, oh, by the way, did you know about this whole zip code theorem? So then I go down the rabbit hole even deeper. Turns out, by definition, America is no longer a capitalist society. But if you Google it, it'll tell you America is a democratic capitalism. Let me tell you something right now. If you have a single monopoly in a market, it is not a free market because the monopoly has too much power. But capitalism, by definition, is a free market, which means any market in the United States that has a monopoly is not a free market. And we can make the argument that if most of America's industries host a monopoly, then most of America is not a free market. And that's exactly what we see today. Every single industry in America, every single one, has at least one really big business at the top that was deemed by the government too big to fail. Which means if that business messes up, they don't get forced to shut down. They don't get forced to fire everybody. They get a taxpayer bailout. The most recent was with the airline industry during COVID. A lot of airline industries around the world were struggling. Not all of them had to shut down, but the ones in America needed a taxpayer bailout to help them keep operating. That is not, by definition, capitalist. If you have businesses that can't fail because the government won't let them fail, they are not capitalist. Which means we don't have capitalism today, ladies and gentlemen. We don't. And you might be thinking, well, is it really a bad thing that we don't have capitalism? Yes, it's a bad thing because the whole point where, you come to America because there's equal opportunities for every individual, that comes from the free market. That comes from capitalism. You take out the capitalism and there is no longer equal opportunities for every American, which ties us back to the zip code conversation.